Here. I'm using a new software, so I'm not even sure. This doesn't feel like I'm really on. So please comment if you see me. If you see me, if you hear me, let me know, because it feels like I'm not connected. I just have a feeling that I'm talking to nonsense. But there you are. Someone's here. Okay, good. Excellent. All right. Hi, everyone. It's Jodi here. Welcome to my Monday morning live coaching. This is really exciting. I just got a new software so I could do this video in a couple places at once. But now I see all of your comments coming through, so I know that it's working. Thank you so much for being here. So we're talking about perfectionism today. And it's great because, you know, when you try something new for the first time, we could get in our head about this kind of thing, can't we? It's so easy to get in your head about wanting it to go okay. And I'm the same, because I was raised in Western culture as well. And I think it's something, it's not, I don't think, I know that this is something that comes to us from Western culture, this idea of perfectionism, feeling like you have to do something right or else. And let me remind you that or else is evasive, isn't it? It's like, or else what? And we really take it seriously, though. That's our problem, is that it's like we have to do it perfect. We have to meet these expectations or else. And we get really freaked out about what that or else is. And so we work really hard to meet it. And, you know, I'm talking usually every Monday morning at 11 o'clock. I go live. And it's a time for live coaching. So you could ask me anything that you want to ask me here. And I know it's live and maybe you want something private. So you have to give me a little bit of information. This is for people who don't work with me privately. If they want to reach me, if they really want to ask me something, I don't do that privately because of ethical reasons. Sometimes I have to ask people questions. And so I do this live every Monday. And while people are typing, go ahead, start. I usually just have one little topic that I really want to share. And so today's topic is perfectionism. So I already told you a little bit about why we get hooked into the perfectionism, why so many of us, it's so important to us. This is the thing. We have high expectations of ourselves because we're really afraid that if we don't meet those high expectations, that we won't be included, that people would leave us out because we're not good enough. That's why we're so worried about being good enough, because we're so worried that we'll get left out or criticized or judged or like no belonging if we aren't perfect. And we don't know what these expectations are or how high they're supposed to be. And so we overshoot to make sure that we get them. And if you overshoot and make sure that you get them, that's perfectionism. You cannot reach that. It's impossible. It's unrealistic to be perfect, to meet these unrealistic expectations of yourself. So you'll always lose. You'll always feel inadequate. And I think that's a huge problem that people go through all the time, is that not feeling adequate. So I want to give you some tips on how to let perfectionism go. And here is the first one. So the first one is don't take yourself so seriously. Don't take yourself so seriously, because you are judging yourself really, really highly, and not anyone else is judging themselves as highly as you are judging yourself. And so if you could relax a little bit about yourself, then life is a little bit easier. You know, when it's like, I have to do this or else. That or else is evasive, remember. There is no or else. There is no really huge consequences, like the seriousness of perfectionism wants you to believe that there are serious consequences. You can make mistakes. So don't take yourself so seriously. when you're responding to these expectations or this negative self-talk of perfectionism, kind of joke around a little. See the ridiculousness in it. See how outrageous it is. And you're not going to take yourself so seriously. And so it's going to not have as much power over you. It loosens it up. It actually, the neuroplasticity in your mind increases with that sense of humor. So laugh at yourself, laugh at a lot of different things. Don't take yourself so seriously. And that really loosens up that perfectionism. Because I want to tell you something about perfectionism. Performance goes down. So many people don't want to let go of perfectionism because they think that is the one thing that is keeping them motivated. But in doing this work for so long and helping people heal from their past and build their self-confidence and create magic in their life, perfectionism and high expectations, we think they're helping us, and they're always hurting us, always hurting us. And the last little tip before I go to these comments, I'm so excited about these comments, is I can see them coming in, is that mistakes are good to make. We learn a lot from mistakes. And so don't be so terrified of making mistakes. We're human and we make mistakes. So we have to be a little more gentle with ourselves. If we get so upset about mistakes, then we're missing all the good and riches of those mistakes, that you learn stuff. I mean, you go down paths less traveled. You might make a wrong turn and you might discover something you didn't know. You might try something and then figure out the problem and be able to do it again better, right? Mistakes are something that we need because we're problem solvers, and we need those mistakes to show us our way. So I hope you like the topic that I brought in. All right, excellent. Oh, good morning, everybody. Good morning, good morning. Violet, so it's a holiday, so you could see me because you're off work. That's great. So you probably just watch me later. I'm so happy. Okay, Cheyenne says my 18-year-old even knew that. He told me a few weeks ago that I couldn't meet my standards. Yeah, right, out of the mouths of babes. Right. Sometimes it's easier for other people to see it. Now, I want to say, we have higher expectations of ourselves than we do for anybody else. And when we lower them and have compassion for ourselves, we actually see that we have more compassion for others. Already we have more compassion for others than we do for ourselves, but it actually expands that even more. You know, when we judge ourselves, we do tend to judge other people more. And ours is 10 times more than what we judge other people. But if we get gentler with ourselves, we actually become kinder and more open and more compassionate with other people. So that's really beautiful. So Violet says, I tend to redo everything others do, so I'm guilty of holding others to my standards. Yeah, that's what I was just saying. Oh my goodness. I was just saying that when you judge other people, when you judge yourself a lot, then you get afraid of other people not meeting their expectations. And when you're afraid, like you're afraid of not meeting expectations because in your mind, it's scary or dangerous or something. And if you're in your mind that if you make mistakes or aren't perfect, that something bad will happen. If that's in your mind, then of course you're going to get scared when people you love are making mistakes or don't meet expectations. And that fear is what's talking when you're holding other people to expectations. It's the fear. And you could feel this from the other side. So quite often, if when things are difficult in your life and other people see that you're either anxious or down or sad or whatever, and other people are reacting to you, sometimes people don't react to this very well. It's because they're afraid. They're afraid that, oh my gosh, you're in danger. And they're reacting out of their fear that you're in danger. But to you, it comes across that they're judging you. And it doesn't feel very good. And so you feel like they're criticizing you, but you have to know that that's coming from their own fear. You could do that or you could receive that. So Marsha said, this is good. I'm so dang hard on yourself. So is everybody. So is everybody. We are so harsh on ourselves, and it is from our culture. It is not You particularly, we are grown and ingrained in our culture to feel this way. And that means that also we could stop it if we knew what it was coming from. That's why I'm sharing this message so much. If we knew why we had this high expectations, when we have that consciousness to it and we're like, oh, like with this deficit culture, you get something done and you think all these other things that you didn't get done yet, instead of celebrating the one thing that you did get done. That is our deficit culture. We have these high expectations because as humans, our soul wants to belong. We want a sense of belonging. And we're so afraid that we could do something that'll kick us out of our community, that we really want to do everything we can and be absolutely perfect to prove our worth so we don't get kicked out. Even if someone rejects you or a couple people reject you, there's always other people. It's not the same as like in hunter-gatherer times, there was one village. And if you were kicked out of that village, you were dead because you couldn't survive without the other people in the village. The animals in the woods would eat you. But now, if we're kicked out of one group, there's just a million other groups that we can have. We're not going to die. All right. So Marcia says, I'm really trying to focus on the small successes rather than looking for anything I'm doing wrong and what I'm thinking is wrong. Exactly. Wow, I was just writing that, but I don't know where I was writing it. Oh yeah, I know. So funny. So I have Stop Negative Thinking class online. And so I was just writing out the page to tell what comes in the class. And I was just saying that, life and how we approach life or how we feel about ourselves and our life is not only what happens to us. It's how we think about what happens to us. This is what Marcia's saying. So if you try to do, I'm going to type it in here, jodiaman.com/affirmations. Make sure I spell it right. So that you could get my class, jodiaman.com/affirmations. And you could get this class. This is exactly what we're talking about today. How to really loosen up that negative thinking. So stop negative thinking. How to stop that negative thinking that comes from our culture. So mistakes are good. Embrace those mistakes. Don't be so scared, but don't take the mistakes so seriously because usually it's not a big deal. Usually the mistakes are really not a big deal and you're fixable. And so if you're concerned about making one mistake, everything takes a lot longer. And sometimes you're like, I'm not even going to bother trying because if it's not going to be perfect, like it's too scary and people don't even try. And then they're so kept back from enjoying life. So, yes. All right. Yeah. Excellent. Okay. I love saying that we tell ourselves to sell ourselves. So I'm trying to shift that thinking. What we tell ourselves, we sell ourselves. Ooh, so Violet says she was talking about the saying, what we tell ourselves, we sell ourselves. So whatever we tell ourselves starts to become a belief about who we are. We make our identity conclusions on what we're telling ourselves. So that is, yes, priceless. Yeah, you dance it out. Why So Serious? Oh, this is beautiful. Cheyenne says, I played the song Why So Serious by Alex Merton to dance it out when I'm struggling. Excellent way to break up that seriousness. Okay, so you know that you could get my affirmations masterclass, Stop Negative Thinking. So obviously this is a problem for people. I could hear you all saying this stuff, that this is something you could relate to. And so why don't you just try to loosen up, not take yourself so seriously, laugh a little bit, embrace your mistakes, have a lot more compassion for yourself. You could check out my other videos on compassion for yourself because that will really change your world. And if you really want to go deeper than just this little class, you could take my Stop Negative Thinking Master's class with that link, jodiaman.com/affirmations. And I'll see you there. All right, I'll see you next Monday. If I have no more comments here, no more questions for me, I guess I'm delivering exactly what you need to hear. if you really want me to cover a certain topic, let me know on any of my social media. I get all my comments. So let me know, and maybe I'll do a video just for you. All right. Thanks for your patience and being here in your presence. And I will see you next Monday at 11. Be there with your questions. Or if you're not on holiday, you'll have to watch me later.